Okay, let's unpack this. I want you to picture the scene. It's 2008.
Mm-hmm.
The charts are like all Flo Rida and Coldplay. And in the nightlife of LA, there's this very specific, very strange subculture just hitting its absolute peak.
You've got guys in aviator goggles.
Inside dark clubs, fuzzy hats, platform boots, all of them walking around with this one goal to hack the code of human attraction.
We are, of course, stepping into the time machine.
Yep.
We're going back to the world of the pickup artist, the PUA.
The PUA.
Mm.
And today, we're not just, skimming the surface of the game. We're doing a deep dive into a book that came right out of the absolute epicenter of that movement.
It's called Make Her Chase You.
And it is a fascinating cultural artifact.
It really is. It was written by a guy named Tynan. But, I mean, because this is the pickup community in the late 2000s, he didn't just go by Tynan.
No, of course not.
In the community, his handle was Herbal.
Herbal. It had to be. Everyone had a handle. It was like a superhero team, but for guys just trying to get phone numbers?
Exactly. And Tynan wasn't just some guy theorizing from a basement. He lived in Project Hollywood.
Okay, you have to explain what that was.
It was this massive mansion right in the LA clubbing district, and his roommates were Neil Strauss.
The guy who wrote the game.
The guy. And Mystery, who basically invented the modern pickup method. So Tynan is like writing from the trenches. He is living with the godfathers of this whole thing.
Now, before we get into the tactics,
Yeah.
and believe me, there are some wild ones involving like penguins and grocery stores, we have to talk about the premise.
Right.
Because when you hear pickup artist, you immediately think manipulation, trickery, dark psychology.
Yeah.
But Tynan starts this book with a totally different argument.
He does. He argues that pickup is actually noble.
Noble. That feels like a massive stretch. How does he even justify that?
Well, his logic is that learning game forces a man to weed out his unattractive characteristics. He calls the typical guy an AFC.
Which is an acronym we should probably define.
Right. It stands for Average Frustrated Chump. Yeah, he's the guy who buys drinks, begs for attention, puts women on these pedestals, and just gets nowhere. Tynan says to stop being an AFC, you have to do the hard work of removing insecurities, removing bad habits. He calls it amplifying who you already are.
So the argument is, you're not tricking women. You're actually offering them a better, more polished partner.
Exactly. It's self-improvement, just wrapped in a very shiny, very aggressive package. It's not become a different person. It's become the high-definition version of yourself.
And the roadmap he lays out is basically a journey from being invisible to being undeniable. And it all starts with what he calls the advertising phase.
Advertising. This is the first, say, 5 to 10 minutes of meeting someone.
And the elevator pitch of your personality.
Yes. And Tynan is very clear here. Most guys mess this up. They try to close the deal immediately. They want her to like them right now.
Yeah, they're needy.
He says, relax. The only goal of advertising is to show two things. One, that you are different. And two, that you are safe. You're not a creep.
But how he does that is where it gets controversial. He advocates for scripting.
He does.
He basically says, don't be yourself yet, be a performance.
Well, he prefers fake question openers over situational openers.
Okay, explain the difference, because I feel like most people just rely on the situation.
A situational opener is what 99% of people do. You turn to the person next to you and say, wow, crowded in here, or I like your purse.
Boring.
Tynan hates it. He thinks it's boring, forgettable, and way too safe. He suggests walking up and asking for an opinion on a completely made-up scenario.
Like the classic, hey, settle a bet for me.
That's the one. My friend is dating a girl who still talks to her ex. Is that okay? It pulls people into a debate immediately. Everyone has an opinion on exes. It doesn't matter that the friend doesn't exist. The social interaction is real. It just skips the small talk.
But the advertising isn't just verbal. We have to talk about the visuals. This is the era of peacocking.
Oh, yes. You cannot talk about 2000s pickup without peacocking.
The idea that to stand out, you have to look, well, ridiculous.
Loud is the word they used. Tynan writes about wearing a feather boa.
A feather boa.
He claims he wore it so much you could find feathers on Sunset Boulevard the next morning. But get this, he mentions he eventually graduated to wearing a sequined hat.
A sparkly sequined hat.
Every single day.
Just walking around getting coffee.
Everywhere. Clubs, grocery stores, you name it.
Okay, but I have to play devil's advocate. If I walk into a bar wearing a sequin hat, people aren't thinking, wow, that guy's cool. They're thinking, look at that clown.
And that's the genius of it, according to Tynan. It's a filter.
A filter for what?
It serves two purposes. First, simple visibility. Bouncers remember him, women remember him. You can't ignore the guy in the disco hat.
Okay, you're memorable,
Hmm.
but are you attractive?
That's purpose number 2. It's a confidence stress test. If you wear that hat and you look nervous and you're hunched over, you look like an idiot. But if you can wear that ridiculous hat and act completely normal, completely unbothered, comfortable, holding eye contact, it signals incredibly high self-esteem. It says, I am so confident that social pressure just doesn't affect me.
And he argues that confidence is the sexiest quality you can have.
The single sexiest. He also talks a lot about faking it till you make it.
Right, the feedback loop.
Exactly. You act confident, people treat you better, which makes you actually confident. He advocates for a cocky, funny attitude.
Cocky funny. That's such a delicate balance. One wrong move, and you're just a jerk.
It is. You have to be arrogant but playful. Tynan says you should build yourself up to absurd levels. Say things like, I'm going to buy a submarine next week.
But the key is you must never, ever put others down.
That's the crucial distinction. Insecurity makes you mean. Confidence just makes you fun.
Okay, so you've advertised, you've got the hat, you've told the fake story, she's interested. Now we move to phase 2. This is the title of the book, The Art of the Chase.
This is the core reversal. Tynan argues the AFC, the average chump. He ruins things by being the pursuer. He calls too much. He asks for approval.
He tries to win her.
Tynan wants to flip that dynamic completely, so she is trying to win you. And he has some very specific, kind of brutal tactics for this.
Like availability.
Yeah.
Or the lack of it.
The phone game. Now, this might sound a little dated in the era of DMs and read receipts, but the principle is scarcity. He suggests answering your phone only about half the time.
And if you're with other people,
You never answer, which honestly is just good manners.
it is. But he weaponizes it. It signals you have a life. You're not just sitting by the phone waiting for her.
He calls it the probation mindset. You have to treat the interaction as if she's on probation. You're evaluating if she fits into your life, not begging to be in hers.
It's a total power shift. And that brings us to one of the most interesting psychological tactics in the whole book, how to handle the boyfriend objection.
Oh, this is fascinating. So you're talking to a girl, and she drops the line, I have a boyfriend.
Most guys would just apologize and walk away. Or get defensive. Both are wrong, because they validate the boyfriend as a threat. Tynan says you should take the boyfriend's side.
Wait, how does that even work?
It's subtle. He suggests saying something like, oh, you shouldn't be so hard on him. Most guys get jealous.
Wow. Most guys get jealous. That's sneaky.
It's psychological warfare. Think about what it does. First, it shows you aren't threatened. You can defend your competition. But subtly, you're framing the boyfriend as insecure or controlling.
By saying most guys get jealous, you're implying that you don't.
Exactly. You come off as the cool, confident guy, and the boyfriend suddenly seems like a problem without you ever insulting him. Tynan calls jealousy poison. He says the correct response is total indifference.
So you flip the script. She's chasing. Now you have to deepen the connection. This leads to phase 3, storytelling and routines.
And he claims storytelling is the most important skill in all of this, but he doesn't really care about the facts of the story.
He cares about the subcommunication, what the story signals about you.
Right. Every story should demonstrate a high-value trait, bravery, spontaneity, without you having to brag. And his best example of this is the penguin pool story.
You have to share this. I read this part and I thought I was hallucinating.
It really does sound like a fever dream. So Tynan tells women this story about how he went online late one night and thought he was buying a pet penguin.
A penguin named Magellan, as one does.
Naturally. And because he thought he was getting this penguin, he went to Costco and bought a 12-ton swimming pool for his living room.
No.
Yes. Set it all up, filled it with a hose, and then found out the penguin site was a hoax. No penguin.
But did he keep the pool?
He kept the pool in his living room.
Why on earth would you tell a girl that story? It makes you sound completely insane.
It's absurd, yes. But break down what it subcommunicates. 1, he has resources. He can buy a pool on a whim. 2, he's spontaneous and eccentric. And 3, it's just entertaining. It breaks the pattern.
It definitely does that. I have a pool in my living room intended for a penguin, is a conversation starter. But, okay, let's say you don't have a penguin story. He suggests the cube.
Ah, the cube. A classic of the era. It's basically a parlor trick.
It's a personality test, right?
Sort of. It's a Japanese pop psychology game. You ask the girl to imagine a desert with 5 things: a cube, a ladder, flowers, a horse, and a storm.
and then you interpret what they all mean.
Exactly, and that's the hook. The cube is her self-image, the ladder her goals, the flowers are her friends, the horse is her ideal lover, and the storm represents her problems.
So if she says, the cube is huge and made of ice,
He'd say, that means you can seem cold on the outside, but you have a big heart.
I can see why this works. It makes the entire conversation about her.
That's the key. People love hearing about themselves. It mimics intimacy. You go from strangers to you understand me in about 5 minutes.
So you've hooked her. Now you have to actually go on a date, but Tynan says, don't call it a date.
This is phase 4, dating differently. He is very anti-dinner date.
Why? That's the standard.
He thinks sitting across a table is like a job interview. It's high pressure, it's boring. He advocates for the anti-date.
And his prime example is the grocery store.
The grocery store date.
To be honest, if a guy asked me to go grocery shopping on a first date, I might just block his number. It sounds like he wants me to run errands.
It sounds mundane, but hear him out. You say, hey, I need to grab food, come tag along. It's low pressure. It shows you have a normal life, you cook, you eat healthy.
Okay, I can see the banter potential.
Yeah,
You're a skim milk person. I don't know if this will work.
exactly. But the most crucial part for Tynan is the exit strategy.
Ah.
If you sit down for dinner and you realize in 10 minutes that you don't like her, you're trapped for 2 hours
So true.
at the grocery store. You just say, well, gotta go put this milk away. Boom, date over. And if it goes well, you invite her back to help you put the groceries away.
It's a seamless transition to a private space. Smart. He also mentions more extreme ideas, right?
Yeah.
Like climbing radio towers.
Stunts. Breaking into a botanical garden at night, climbing a roof. It plays on the misattribution of arousal theory. Your brain mistakes the adrenaline rush of fear for attraction to the person you're with.
So you become associated with that rush. Now, there's one hard rule he has about dates and money, and this one creates a lot of debate.
Never pay for a first date.
Never.
Not even a coffee.
Never. Tynan argues that you are the prize. If you pay, you are essentially bribing her for her time. You're setting a frame where you are the provider trying to impress her. He wants to shatter that frame.
It's aggressive, but it's consistent with his whole philosophy. Let's move to the deeper stuff, though. He talks about relationships, and this is where he introduces his golden rule.
The willingness to leave.
You must always be willing to walk away.
It sounds harsh, but it's the foundation of his negotiating power. He argues if you're not willing to leave, you will inevitably accept bad behavior. You lose your standards because you fear losing her more than you value your own boundaries.
He gives a really personal example of this, doesn't he? He does. He talks about breaking up with his girlfriend, Katya. And just to add to the drama, Katya was actually Mystery's ex-girlfriend.
It's a very small world, that PUA community.
Very. But Tynan loved her. However, he had a standard. No excessive drinking. She started drinking heavily again. And even though it hurt him, he broke up with her immediately.
He walked the walk.
He did. He says that willingness is the only way to maintain respect. But what about the friend zone? Tynan has a unique take on that, too.
Most guys feel trapped there.
Tynan says, no, the friend zone is just a head start.
A head start? How?
Think about it. If you're friends, she already trusts you. She likes you as a person. You've cleared the safety hurdle. You just need to add the missing ingredient.
Sexual tension.
Exactly. And he suggests breaking the polite barrier. Talk about other women to trigger a little jealousy, introduce sexual topics into conversation, not about her, but just in general.
To show you're a sexual being, not just a neutered friend. And physically.
The cuddle tactic. Cuddling during a movie is the bridge. It's intimate, but plausible between friends. It gets you close enough to change the dynamic.
Finally, he talks about mindset. And this is where the book gets surprisingly wholesome. He talks about optimism.
He calls it the 30-day happiness challenge. And it's great advice for anyone. Find one positive thing in every negative situation.
Your car breaks down.
Great, I can finally listen to that podcast while I wait for the tow truck.
You get fired.
Now I have the freedom to find a job I actually like.
It sounds cliche, but he argues this energy is magnetic.
Right.
It's the opposite of the brooding bad boy. He wants you to be the excited, happy guy. If you're genuinely excited about life, people just want to be near you.
So we've gone from sequin hats and fake questions to deep philosophies on self-respect and optimism. It's a wild ride.
It is. And some of it is manipulative, sure. The scripting, the boyfriend destroyer tactics, those are ethically gray, to say the least.
But the core idea. The core idea is compelling. It's the idea that social skills are learnable, that fate isn't going to save you. You have to build yourself.
And Tynan wraps up the book with a story that I think perfectly encapsulates that, the 100% perfect girl story.
It's a parable, he tells. It's about a boy and a girl who pass each other on the street. They catch each other's eye. They are 100% perfect for each other. Soulmates.
But they keep walking.
They keep walking. They assume that if it's fate, they'll meet again. If it's meant to be, it'll happen. And of course, they never see each other again. They marry other people, live their lives, and die. The takeaway is brutal but necessary. Fate is lazy.
The perfect opportunity can walk right past you, and if you don't take the initiative to speak up, to say hi, to risk looking like a fool,
You lose it forever.
that's a heavy thought to leave on. We spend so much time waiting for the right moment, but Tynan is saying the right moment is just the moment you decide to act.
Exactly. Fate favors the bold. Or, at least the guy in the sequined hat.
That it does. Thanks for diving in with us. We'll see you in the next one.